Hello everybody! Kind of been longer than I initially planned it would be till I made this vlog, but basically I'm in this really weird situation with my timetable. The background story of this is that when I was at primary school and probably most of secondary school, I used to get really annoyed that we had to have a 5-day week and a 2-day weekend, and I just thought it was completely unjust, and I didn't understand it. I was like, why should we spend the majority of our lives in school? It's just not fair. Anywho, I get to university and I start my second year, and lo and behold, I have a 5-day weekend and a 2-day week. So be careful what you wish for. So it's kind of weird. My lectures are on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and then I have nothing at all until the next Tuesday. This might sound like a good thing, but I don't really like it because it's really hard to know if there's any structure to your day whatsoever. It's just like really bizarre having this much time, because you don't want to let yourself get too lax because you're still at university, but you just have so much time and it's really confusing, and I don't really think I'm ever going to get used to it because it's really strange. And also, two things I want to tell you about. Firstly is this jumper, which I'm sure you'll agree is extremely fetching, and it's like this, and this is a feature sleeve, I do believe. But anyway, the story of this jumper. Basically, my mum knitted my dad this jumper in the 80s to match his turquoise trousers. I kid you not. Last year, when all these jumpers were in fashion, but like in really muted colours, all the girls were like wearing these big jumpers, but they were like beige, and I have a severe hatred for anything beige, so don't even talk to me about chinos. But yeah, I really like the jumpers, but I didn't like the beige, and my mum was like, oh, I've got this jumper that I knitted for Dad in the 80s, and he doesn't wear it anymore, so they gave it to me, and I love it, and I wear it lots, much to the displeasure of people who have to be seen with me. Talking of being seen with me, I do apologise about my hair, and it's kind of just like this because I haven't done anything to it today, because it's one of my days when I have nothing, because it's the beginning of my 5-day weekend. And anyway, Stuart might tell me off for my hair like this, because when I wear my hair like this he says I look like a Teletubby, but I don't think I look like a Teletubby. I like to hope I don't look like a Teletubby. Something I wanted to talk about today is Jürgen Habermas. If you have studied media or sociology or anything like that, you may have heard of Jürgen Habermas. He is a sociologist of sorts from somewhere in Europe, I'm not that sure. But I had a lecture on him on Tuesday for my module, which is called Media Thinkers, and I've decided that I'm a little bit in love with Jürgen Habermas, and I got my folder out here because I wanted to talk about some of his views. He basically, one of his main studies as such was on this thing called the public sphere, and the idea of the public sphere is that there is a space, and it's a public space in which people can go to talk about stuff. Now, in I think the 17th and 18th centuries, this was like totally normal, and people used to meet in coffee shops and talk about stuff like democratic stuff and social stuff and just important things in general, and the government were not allowed to join in. It was government free, there were no state officials, and there was no censorship, and you could say what you want. And Habermas has done some studies on whether or not this is still the case today, and I've been thinking about this a lot, and I've decided that it's definitely not the case today, and it kind of makes me scared. And we're also talking about whether you're a media consumer or a media citizen, and a media consumer is someone who consumes media, but a media citizen is someone like me, or anyone who vlogs, or anyone who blogs, or anyone who does anything to contribute back to the media. And we were talking about the importance of being either a consumer or a citizen, and I wanted to just quickly talk about how important I think it is, especially this day and age, to be a media citizen, because we're living in a world in which state control is going a bit mad. Maybe that's a controversial thing to say, but that is completely what I believe. I firmly believe that we are rapidly heading into a 1984-esque by George Orwell situation, which scares me shitless every single day. Especially when I hear news like I heard the other day that the government is trying to pass a law meaning that any videos on YouTube presenting any type of protest are going to be banned and censored. That is an absolute outrage, because I would have said that YouTube is a public sphere, but it's clearly not, because we're not allowed to post videos on what we want to post videos about. And this is why it's very important that you do not sit back and just take it, because if people do that, then well, what is actually the world coming to? We're literally just going to be under complete state control, and we won't be able to think for ourselves, and it'll be like the thought police in 1984, as I mentioned before. And I think that it's quite simple, and that all we should do, everybody, including you, all we need to do is make sure that we are putting back into the media and making it very, very clear that we're not going to just sit and get given what they're going to give us, that we want to be a part of it too. And I think it can be as simple as posting a tweet or writing a blog, because we're very, very lucky in that the media is very accessible these days. I would say that, I don't know the actual percentage, but I'd say like it must be about 95% of people in the Western world have the internet. I'm sure, I mean that's a guess, but it can't be far off that. And it's there in front of us. We just need to be a part of it, because otherwise, if we look like we don't care, we're acting like we don't care, they're going to think we don't care, and we're all going to die. It sounds trivial, but it's actually true. I'm sure of it. Something else that happened yesterday that's very, very sad. It might have been the early hours of this morning, I'm not quite sure because I can't remember when I went to bed. But just before I went to bed last night, I found out that Steve Jobs has died, and I think this is very, very sad. And then I was thinking about it this morning whilst I was making toast with Stuart, and it occurred to me that he actually probably changed my life, because Steve Jobs is the guy who invented like Apple, for anyone who didn't know, you crazy people who didn't know that. But yeah, because I used a PC up until the age of 17. I got a Mac the Christmas I turned 17, and up until then I did some like basic video editing, but it was when I got my Mac that I got really into like, I guess, technology. Like that was when I really got into photography, that was when I really got into editing and filming and things like that. And I do think it was because of the accessibility of the Mac platform, and because of that I then went on to get my iMac, and I chose a university in which you study on a Mac, and it all adds together and it's like a snowball effect, and I genuinely think Steve Jobs changed my life. And I'm not going to say I'll miss him, because it's not my place to miss him, but I definitely feel like it's very, very sad that he's not around anymore, because he definitely changed the face of modern technology, and that's a pretty big achievement for anyone in their lifetime, so good job, Steve. So yes, that concludes my vlog, I do believe, and I'm going to spend my day watching the Pride of Britain Awards on ITV Player, and I'm about 10 minutes in and I'm a bit annoyed so far, because there was this boy who saved his dad from a raging bull, which is very lovely, but they did this really stupid reconstruction, and the boy was like pretending to jump in the tractor and pretending to kill a cow, and then he was running to his mum and pretending that it all happened again. And I just think that's really, really stupid, and he might be a hero, but he's definitely not an actor, and it's much harder to take these things seriously when there's a boy pretending to run away from a cow. But I'm not disputing his bravery, and I think also I'm going to play Sims 3 and I'm going to listen to musical soundtracks. It's going to be a good day. I will see you soon. Bye! I did just consider doing a tubby bye-bye there just for ironic effect, but I think I quite wisely decided against it.